as a person from Christchurch, I think it's been really good, really lovely. The things that have come up are looking great. The buildings, I like the height of them. I like the what I understand is happening with the sustainability, the materials used, things like that. Some areas are pretty slow. I don't like driving past the remains of the church on the corner of Colombo and Brougham Street. Things like that need to be done, but I think it's been pretty good.
Honestly, quite progressively slowly. How's that? Progressive and slowly. So, yeah, it's you wouldn't see this in another country. It'd all be all done and dusted and brought back into shape, whereas this has taken so long to even get to. I mean, this is the only sort of hive of activity really in the city, if you really have a look around. So there's a lot more work to be done here.
I don't know much about it yet. I just heard about it years ago when it happened, but that the rebuild has been going on, so we're hoping to get down there and learn about it.
One thing we're going to go look at.
It's beautifully laid. It was always beautifully laid out, and I think what they've done with the rebuilding is absolutely amazing. I was last here in 2018, and none of the buildings that I've just had my lunch in were even there. So I think they've done marvellous, and I think it's nice that they've still kept the building where those poor people died. It's just flattened land at the moment, and I think that's a lovely tribute to them. And I like the memorial too. I think that's great how the names are mentioned.
It's good. I come here maybe once a year. I come up, and I love Riverside Market, especially what they've done along here. Just bringing life back into the inner city, and even the art. You've got some buildings that are obviously going to take a long time to get rid of. So rather than just leaving them there derelicts, doing a bit of art on them, actually giving them a bit of life despite there's no life in the building, it's cool. I've seen Christchurch grow over the last few years because it got very quiet in the CBD for a while. So yeah, no, I rate it.
We didn't realise, did we, the impact the earthquake had until we saw the damage still evident around the city. It looks like a war zone in some places.
We had a choice today to go to Littleton or Christchurch. Mm-hmm. And I said, let's go to Christchurch.
Right.
She said, why? I said, have you ever heard of Littleton? She said, no. I said, everybody's heard of Christchurch.
Right.
So we get home, and people say, where'd you go? If we say Littleton, they'd say, If they say Christchurch, we say Christchurch.
They'll know. Because, it's stuck in our mind all through these years about this place.
It feels like it's certainly improved, but has probably gone slower than it should have. And having some insight into things like the Cathedral Reinstatement Trust, that's been frustratingly slow. Whether or not it should have happened in the first place is a whole other question. But most of Christchurch is actually looking really neat now. We've got the terraces not that far from where we are right now, and that's really humming at the moment. So broadly pretty good, I suppose.
We're quite upset to see the cathedral in such a state, because everybody in the world saw the cathedral and bits of it falling off and nearby houses collapsing, but we didn't realise how after nearly 12 years it would still be in the state it is. We appreciate that there's been lots of complications, because that's been explained to us about insurance claims and
it belongs to the church.
Yes, and assessors that may have assessed or may have just had a salary for 2.5 years. And also, of course, there's lots of vacant lots. So in a way, it would be nice to come back in 5 or 10 years. I don't know how long it's going to take you to rebuild, but we knew about the earthquake, but we just didn't realise that the effects of it would be so evident in 2022.
My children live in Christchurch. I'm not 100% sure on what the rebuild is here in Christchurch, but there is that area in the red zone. It still looks a little bit underdeveloped for the amount of time that it's been since the earthquake. It would be nice to see a little bit, but this is beautiful where we are here today. Like, it's got a real Melbourne South Bank feel to it down here, but I don't know a lot about the rebuild. I'm sorry, I don't come to Christchurch. It's only my 5th time here in the last 3 years.
I was aware that Christchurch had a lot of old stone buildings going back to colonial times. and it's sad to see so many of those lost or in a severely damaged state. And I sincerely hope that the money will be found to rebuild those, because the modern architecture leaves me somewhat adrift. It's anywhere architecture. It could have been put up in any place, in any country. You want to come to a city and see something that identifies that city. And those lovely old stone buildings did that. And I echo what my wife has said. I'd love to see the cathedral rebuilt and a number of other stone buildings, perhaps rebuilt as facades, but something that reflects the character of Christchurch.
And supports the building if there's, when there's another earthquake.
Well, I haven't been to Christchurch, although I've been to New Zealand 5 times. I haven't been to Christchurch since 2009, so I've been really interested to see how you're redeveloping it and how you're remembering it. And I love the memorial walk down here. That was fantastic, and it does look like it's redeveloping really well. I can't remember well enough to see what's different, but I'm pretty impressed with how it's going.